Tuungane sote na tushereke pamoja ushindi kwa ukombozi wetu. Tujitoe wenyewe, tusimame pamoja kulinda uhuru na umoja wetu. Enyi Bwana na binti wa Afrika, mwili wa jua, mwili wa anga, tuifanye Afrika mti wa uzima. Tuungane sote tuimbe pamoja, kuenzi shikamano hatima yetu. Tujitoe wenyewe kupambana pamoja, uhuru na umoja vitawale. Enyi Bwana na binti wa Afrika, mwili wa jua, mwili wa anga, tuifanye Afrika mti wa uzima. Tuungane sote na tujibidishe kutoa kilicho bora kwa Afrika. Chimbuko la wanadamu, chemchemi ya utamaduni, tumaini letu wakati wa mafarakano. Enyi Bwana na binti wa Afrika, mwili wa jua, mwili wa anga, tuifanye Afrika mti wa uzima.
Let's talk about Sudan today. We are talking about Sudan, the land of black people, the land of about 40 million people, the land that was once the biggest kingdom in that region, the Kushite kingdom or the Kush empire. The Kush kingdom was there, and the Kush kingdom went ahead to actually occupy Kemet, we call it Egypt, and ruled Kemet for some time. The Kushites, call them the Nubians. Today, we talk about country profiles, and Sudan is on our radar. My name is Katon Kasa. In the studio is Dennis Bongole, and this is Humans TV Africa. We encourage you to please subscribe to our channel. We are Humans TV Africa, a registered charity organization registered to do media work in the world. We have offices in Uganda, Kenya, Zambia, Zimbabwe, Nigeria, Ghana, Sierra Leone, UK, and of course USA, and we are growing. Our intention is to empower people to get out of poverty, to empower them to know better, to fight stereotypes, and of course to spur economic growth and development in the world, and of course to avoid biases that were being taught as children. Our TV station is that one that empowers you with knowledge each day, knowledge that you don't get in your schools. Knowledge, information is power, and we give it to you right here. We intend to learn from you as you learn from us today. We talk about the Kushites, the kingdom of the Kushites, the Kush, the Nubians, and of course Sudan, one of the largest countries in Africa. That is the map of Sudan. Sudan is a mixture of Arabs, yes, pure Arabs, and then black people. Sudan, a lovely country, right in Africa. We say Sudan is a country whose name is derived from the Arabic Beradad al-Sudan, which means the land of black people. It's a country with about 40 million people. The official language is Arabic. And of course, as we see on that map, the main colors are green, red, white, and black. That is Sudan. Sudan's population actually is about 45 million people as we speak. Sudan is located in the northern Eastern Africa, the third largest country in Africa. Sudan, right there. Who are the neighbors of Sudan? Let us look at this map. Ethiopia, not so far away. Eritrea, South Sudan, Central African Republic, Chad, Libya, Egypt, and of course the Red Sea, not far away from Sudan, which links it to the Arabia, Saudi Arabia, not far away from Sudan. Now, so that is Sudan. That is Sudan on your screen. The Indian Ocean is not so far away. Now, when you look at the map of Sudan, within Africa, we will say that Sudan is right there at the edge of the boundary of Africa. It gives Sudan access to the new world. And of course, Sudan, the capital state is called Khartoum, or Khartoum, the city of the Sudanese. Remember, Sudan, I told you, meant the land of black people. But as we speak, Sudan has more people from Arabia, the Arabs, and of course there are black people right there. The language is Arabic as the main language. Of course, this country was occupied by the Egyptians later on, who ruled it, and later on ruled it on behalf of the British, who also ruled it until this country got independence. Now, in terms of resources, Sudan is one of those rich countries in the world. In terms of resources, look at this map right here. We see Sudan has gold. You look at that yellow, oh, that is gold covered area. Now, Sudan has gold, has tin, has lead, has graphite, has talc, has copper, marble, nickel, asphalts, and mica, among others. Sudan is mineral rich. Sudan is mineral rich, and we always wonder, why are people in Sudan poor? Sudan has all these resources, including the resources right there. Sudan has uranium. Sudan has lead, nickel, cobalt, manganese, bronze, silver, copper, iron ore, gold. Sudan has all these resources. Of course, River Nile is not very far away, and not very far away, of course. And of course, we're saying that Sudan has all these minerals. And of course, we can talk about gold, iron ore, and of course, base metals. Hasai gold mine has those base metals. And of course, we see other minerals extracted, such as gypsum, salt, and cement. Yes, Sudan has actually cement. Phosphorus found in Mount Kun and Mount Rauro in Eastern Nuba. There you find these exports there. And Sudan, by the way, also has a lot of gold. Some of the largest gold deposits can be found in Sudan. Some of the largest. In fact, Sudan is the 10th largest gold producer. Number 10th largest gold producer in the world is Sudan. And the gold derived from Hasai gold mine, which is situated in the northeast of the country, which is about 50 kilometers from Khartoum. There is a lot of gold in that place. Sudan becomes the leading gold producer, one of the leading gold producers in Africa. In fact, covers number 3. Sudan comes number 3 in terms of gold, following South Africa and Ghana. Take that as a fact. Number 3 in terms of gold production is Sudan. It follows South Africa and Ghana. Sudan has gold. Now, apart from that, Sudan also is known as a place where you can go and visit and have a good time. Of course, I told you, Sudan has over 200 pyramids. You think of Egypt having pyramids? You haven't gone to Sudan. Sudan has over 200 pyramids. Egypt has almost 70 pyramids. Sudan has over 200 pyramids. Now, population from my statistics is 46 million people. I will take this from the World Bank. Population growth rate is 2.6, which is a bit high, meaning that these guys can actually have about 1 million people added on their population quite easily. Now, age dependency is 79.9, which is 80% of these guys are dependents on the working population. This is so bad. Urban population is a bit low at 35%. And of course, mortality rate among the children is high at 39. This is threatening infant mortality rate. Life expectancy in Sudan is almost 65 years at birth. And of course, I told you, Sudan has its own power, its own electricity. Sudan can produce it there at 16 billion kilowatts. And of course, the consumption is a bit low at 13, which means Sudan, if they wanted, they would export it, but they don't. And of course, renewable energy is about 10 billion there in kilowatts. Now, in terms of oil, I told you Sudan has oil. Did I tell you? Yes, I did. I told you Sudan does not import oil because Sudan has oil, their own oil. Sudan is rich. Sudan can produce about 68,000 barrels. And of course, we see the consumption right there. And Sudan actually exports some of this oil. Let us go ahead and see other facts about Sudan's technology. They have about 89 airports. Some of these are private airports, of course. Rich guys actually cannot have their own small private airports. Solar phones, about 30 million people there have solar phones. Of course, internet users about 10 million. Railways cover about 7,251 kilometers. Telephones, their numbers not indicated by the World Bank. Now, let us continue with other facts about Sudan, the land of black people. Sudan, the location is northern Africa, bordering the Red Sea between Egypt and Eritrea. Total area, Sudan is big, has over 1,861,484 square kilometers. 1,000,000.8 square kilometers. This country is big. Now, land area actually is bigger also at 1.7 million square kilometers. Water covers about 129,813 square kilometers, a bit big. And they have a coastline. Sudan has a coastline of about 853 kilometers. The climate is tropical in the south and, of course, arid desert in the north. Rainy season varies by region from April to November. They have the rain season. Of course, Sudan is a bit dry, I should tell you. And the terrain is generally flat. Yeah, flat. Sudan is quite flat. Yeah, flat and featureless plain. There are mountains in far south, southeast, and of course, west. There's a lot of desert in the north. Yes, Sudan has a desert, if you don't know. Go there and see beautiful sand dunes there. The lowest point is at the Red Sea, which is zero, and the highest point is at Jabal Mar. That's the highest point at 3,042 meters. Now, Sudan has been having problems with security. These are internally displaced people. It is hard to mention that Sudan has got a lot of insecurities. Internally displaced people in Sudan. This breaks my heart because Sudan has lots of restless, beautiful country, beautiful people right there, but always at war. Sudan was ruled by al-Bashir for over 30 years, and the guy left this country in turmoil. He's in prison as I speak, but now I'm showing some of the images of Sudan. I'll give you a history of Sudan. Sudan has beautiful women, of course. As you know, much of Africa has beauties all over. Yeah, you'll find them, of course, in Sudan. Now, Sudan is having a rich history. I'll give you a history as Dennis keeps on showing these pictures. Please keep showing them back and forth as I give a history of Sudan. Now, in 1820, and before 1820, I should say that Sudan was under the Kush kingdom. Did I tell you the Kushites? Google them. The Kushites. The Kushites are also known as the Nubians, if you want. The Kushites ruled Sudan for a long time. It was an empire, the Kush kingdom. Remember, I told you in one of my episodes that the Kushites, in fact, also ruled Egypt. The Kushites ruled Egypt. That Egypt we see with pharaohs, it was once covered by the Kushites. Now, do you wonder why we see pyramids in Sudan and we see pyramids in Egypt? The Kushite kingdom once ruled Egypt. Then the Kushite kingdom was from, of course, Sudan of today. Now, we see that as the years went by, the Nubia people, the Nubian kingdom, which we called Kush kingdom, lost touch, lost the grip, and Egypt took them over. Egypt conquered Sudan in 1820. In 1820, Egypt conquered Sudan and continued to occupy them. Look at this beautiful city, Khartoum, right there. Sudan has beautiful places. I should tell you, that is Khartoum, very, very beautiful, right there. And I should give the history, and I tell you that from the 1820, Sudan was under the Egyptians, and they ruled it until the British took over. And it became a condominium of the British. I told you, Sudan has over 200 pyramids. Egypt has 70 pyramids. How about there? Sudan has more pyramids than Egypt. But people don't even talk about Sudan. Sudan has more pyramids than Egypt. Now, we say that the British, of course, took over Sudan, ruled it until 1956, when Sudan regained their say, call it independence. So between 1899 to 1956, United Kingdom ruled Sudan, and that was the Anglo-Egyptian condominium. That was called the Anglo-Egyptian condominium. And during this period of colonial rule, these administrators divided Sudan into two. Do you know why? We have Northern Sudan, or call it Sudan, and Southern Sudan. Who divided Sudan? It were the British. It were the British who divided Sudan into two distinct regions, North and South. I told you Sudan has more pyramids than Egypt. Go check it out. Sudan has more pyramids than Egypt. Now, the question I've been asking is, if people claim to have built the pyramids in Egypt, who built the pyramids in Sudan? Yet we know that actually the Kushites once ruled Egypt, and the Kushites were from Sudan. So people should pick this selection clearly. The Kushites, call them the Nubians, were from Sudan, that area. And they went ahead to rule over Egypt, call it Kemet. Now, when we see pyramids in Sudan, the question is, who built pyramids in Egypt? And we remember that the Kushites ruled over Egypt. The Kushites ruled over Egypt. The Nubians ruled over Egypt. So whoever said that Africans never built pyramids is telling a lie. Who built the pyramids in Sudan? Over 200 pyramids. They were built by the Kushites, by the Nubians. And the Nubians, they are purely Africans. Now, to go back into the history of Sudan, I should tell you that Sudan got their independence on 1st January 1956. They got their independence from the British. And 6 individuals, 3 multi-member sovereign councils have served Sudan state. 6 people have served Sudan as leaders since their independence on 1st January 1956. Sudan is a very troubled country. Sudan has been under war, under trouble. The man today we can call the leader of Sudan is a military man, not even formally, properly elected. I cannot say Osman Hussein has been properly elected because he came through a military council. After deposing dictator Omar al-Bashir, then we see this guy coming in. Remember, the Sudanese Armed Forces, SAF, and the powerful paramilitary group known as the Rapid Support Forces have taken over Sudan for some time. They have been disturbing Sudan for some time. Remember, in 2011, Southern Sudan seceded from Northern Sudan. Omar al-Bashir failed to contain Southern Sudan. Having fought with Garanga for so many years, Omar al-Bashir gave up, and Southern Sudan seceded in 2011. They had a war which had begun in 1955. You can imagine. The war between the South and the North began in 1955. When Omar took over years later, Omar ruled Sudan for over 30 years. Omar failed to contain the Southern insurgencies until they defeated him and they seceded. In October 2021, the military seized power, and in a coup led by the Sudanese Armed Forces, the labor leader Abdel Fattah al-Burhan and Hamilton took over power from Omar al-Bashir. This man has been in prison. Omar al-Bashir has been in prison since 2021. And remember, the transitional council, the transitional seven council, reconstructed themselves into a junta that was led by Burhan, and they were monopolizing power since 2021. The incumbent leader of that is Osman Hussein. Osman Hussein, the man you have seen there on the screen, has been leading Sudan as acting since 19 January 2022. He was appointed by the Transitional Seven Council in Sudan. He was appointed by that council in Sudan. And up to now, as we speak, we don't know exactly where Omar Bashir is. As I speak today, we don't know very much where Omar Bashir is, because the International Court wanted him for crimes against humanity, but Sudan refused to hand him over. Omar Bashir, that man on the screen, was born on January 7th, 1944 at Hosh Wad Banak in Sudan. Is an Arabic Sudanese. The guy has been ruling Sudan with an army. He's a military officer, an Arab African. Right there, he was elected into government in 1989. He served as the president of Sudan from 1993 until when he was deposed recently. Right there. Now, this man was arrested by a military coup on April 11th, 2019, and after months of protests against his 30-year autocratic rule, the man ruled Sudan for over 30 years with an iron hand, keeping money in his house, controlling the bank, controlling everyone like his own family. The country was in his pocket. But now, as I speak, Omar al-Bashir is in prison for corruption, for murder, and for all atrocities against humanity. This man is wanted by ICC on 3rd March 2009. ICC, International Criminal Court of Justice, issued a warrant of arrest for Omar al-Bashir. Then, the president of Sudan, the guy was under ICC watch. He used to travel to Uganda. He used to travel to a few countries, but the man had an indictment on his head. ICC wanted him arrested, but no one dared to arrest him until his own soldiers took him in, and right now they have imprisoned him. Now, on the 26th of April 2023, the armed forces in Sudan said that they had arrested him and they were keeping him in a prison called Koba prison, which is a military prison right there. And they told us that actually was in military hospital. They had kept him in Koba, and later on they told us that he was in hospital in Omdurman. He was there, arrested there. We don't know exactly if this man is still alive, but we have been told that he is under arrest. The military arrested him, and Transitional Council took over from the 20th August 2019. They have been there. They drafted the constitution very quickly, declared themselves leaders. They got Abdel Fattah al-Burhan in Burhan in October 2021. There was again a coup d'etat, and again they reconstructed themselves into another government. And then today, we see the incumbent military ruler, Osman Hussein, acting as the ruler, not elected, but of course we'd say the commission, the transitional commission, the military council has given him power since 19 January 2022. The man has been ruling now. This is Sudan for you. This is Sudan for you. Quite an interesting country, rich country, very, very rich country. The 3rd leading producer of gold in Africa, the 10th leading producer of gold in the world, with oil, with all the resources, with all the beautiful sand dunes, with the pyramids, with the rich history of the Kushites, the people who once occupied Kemet, called it Egypt, and ruled it for so many years, and took civilization from Kush, called it Sudan, the land of black people. They took civilization from Kush and took it to Kemet. They built pyramids from Sudan to Kemet. Simple mathematics. Because who was first there in Kemet? The Kushites took them on. ruled them over. Now, the Kushites, who were the Nubians, occupied that vast place we call Sudan. At one time, it was among the biggest countries in the world. With over 2 million square kilometers, Sudan was once one of the biggest countries in the world. Today, it's divided between south and north. And who divided it? It were the British, because they wanted to have a condominium and, of course, divide and rule was their approach by then. Sudan is a country of prospects, but a country in trouble. Thank you for watching, and keep watching Human Civil Africa for this and more education right here on your TV. See you in the next one.